Yo, what's up guys? Yeah, pokeaim here. Today we have a new video on Overqwil, the new evolution of Hisuian Quillfish, and we'll be talking about it from a competitive point of view. I'm excited for this Pokemon a lot, and if you guys do enjoy these videos, make sure you let me know by leaving a like, leave a comment with your thoughts on Overqwil either before or after. I don't care if you leave multiple comments, it doesn't matter to me. You support me either way. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe as I upload Pokemon videos every single day, and I don't see that changing for quite some time, hopefully. But yeah, Overqwil is awesome. Now, I do want to say that while Legends Arceus did not have competitive Pokemon with it, I am looking more so, forward, right? Gen 9, maybe Sword and Shield DLC, BDSP DLC, whatever next game that we're going to be allowed to use this Pokemon in, because it will happen. We will eventually be able to use this Pokemon in a real game. Just like Melmetal was in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and we were finally able to use it in Sword and Shield, etc., etc. So, I love this Pokemon. Poison and Dark is incredible typing, right? We have quite a few Poison Dark Pokemon. Actually, no, we have less than 5 Poison Dark Pokemon fully evolved, right? We have Drapion, Stunky, and Alolan Muck. I believe that is completely it, and I'll actually just prove that right now. But Poison Dark is awesome because it has... I was right. It's awesome because it has one weakness, which is ground, right? That's already incredible, right? That's already an improvement from regular Quillfish in terms of resistances. So you have one weakness, and you have some very, very key resistances. The two that are coming to mind are Ghost and Dark. Ghost and Dark are some of the best offensive typings, especially in generations above 6, where they buffed Solar Steel no longer resist them at all, right? So they are incredible. Moves like Shadow Ball are very spammable. Knockoff is one of the most used moves and one of the best moves in the game. And Sucker Punch, obviously, for priority as well. So to be able to resist those is really, really cool, especially when you look at this Pokemon's stats, right? So this Pokemon has base 85 HP. So if you actually compare it to Quillfish, 65 to, well, they're the exact same. They have the exact same stats, but 65 to 85, 115 from 95, which is awesome. 95 defense, which is really good. And then it's special attack, special defense, just slightly better, 65 special defense, which isn't the best, right? But it is enough to be able to take like a Shadow Ball from a Gengar, for instance. I believe you can at neutral take 2, and we can calc this real quick. But yeah, it's gonna be allowed to take on Gengar. So I'm not gonna calculate it. Like Specs is gonna 2 KO you most likely, but with rocks up. But you'll be able to take Scarf and like non-choiced items. And then 85 speed, which is also the same as Quillfish, but I think that's still really good, especially for Poison Dark, specifically because this Pokemon still retains Poison Point, Swift Swim, and Intimidate. The big one here, or the big ones, are Swift Swim and Intimidate. These are amazing, right? So we have a Poison Dark Pokemon with Swift Swim. Now we have a few Pokemon with Swift Swim that are not water types, right? The two that come to mind, just off the top of my head, are Maldo and Beartic, are Pokemon that have access to Swift Swim, but they're not water types. But now we have a Dark Poison, which can do the exact same thing. So this already sets it apart from Pokemon like Drapion and Skuntank and Alolan Muck. It's different. They all do different things, right? Alolan Muck, Pursuit Traps, rest in peace, Pursuit. Skuntank usually defogs and Sucker Punches, and Drapion can Swords Dance Sweep, Toxic Spike, Pursuit Trap, kind of does like a mix of the two. But now we have Overqwil, which has the ability to Swords Dance as well. But let's actually look at move pool real quick, and then we'll compare it to Quillfish, and then we'll talk a little bit more. But I really like this as a Swift Swim user, because not only is it a good Swift Swim user because it has access to Aqua Tail, which is nice, and I'm sure it'll have access to Liquidation, Waterfall, and in future games when it actually has moves, even though it's not water type. It also has the ability to absorb Toxic Spikes, and I think one of the main ways to beat like rain teams, especially in 6v6 singles from that, obviously it's different in VGC, but in 6v6 singles is hazards, and Toxic Spike are really good, especially like Toxic Spikes versus rain teams is really strong. Not to say that Overqwil will beat Toxic Spikes, but just the ability to absorb Toxic Spikes without having to defog with like your Pelipper or Rapid Spin with whatever member you have on the team, I think is really cool. So let's look at its move pool real quick as well, and a few things we do know, it still has access to Spikes. Now, Spikes is different in Pokemon Legends Arceus. I don't mind if they keep Spikes this way going forward, right? It's just like a hazard that does damage turn per turn. I like that. I like that. It's only for several turns, though, so it's not for the entirety of the game. I won't mind if that stays. We'll see if that happens. But I think the really cool move that it gets is Barb Barrage. So Barb Barrage is basically a physical poison-type Hex that's just slightly weaker than Hex, right? It's 60 versus 65. However, it has a 30% chance to poison the target. So that is in itself amazing, right? Like something just think about like a bulky ground type, right? Like think about Rhyperior coming in on this Pokemon because it can take the dark type and the obviously the resisted poison type attacks aimed at it. You go for Barbarage, right? You get the poison on Barbarage. That's already status. Rhyperior is already being weakened. Your next move will be 120 base power plus stab, obviously. And not to mention this Pokemon also has access to Aqua Tail, so it could probably beat it down anyway after. But the ability to wear down Pokemon that would otherwise resist or take on your type really, really well. Like Tyranitar coming in, another one that can resist Barbarage and also the dark type stab from Overqwil. It gets poisoned, and that's something wear it down. That helps your Dragapult later, that helps your Latios later, right? Obviously, so I want to stress how good of a move this is, right? A 30% chance to poison the target. You get doubled in power after from any status, right? It's not just that. It's doubles if the target has a status condition. That counts for burn, that counts for paralysis, that counts for sleep, or I guess drowsiness in this case. Frostbite or freeze, depending. I'm going to make a video talking about that and how I kind of wanted to change as well in the future. I like that change, but I'll make a video talking about that. And yeah, it just counts for status. So it's pretty cool. It's a really nice move. It's very spammable. And of course, you still have access to Poison Jab as well if you want a slightly stronger move immediately. I like the idea of using this move. There's a reason why people use Scald over Surf on Pokemon like Keldeo and Toxapex. Even though it's slightly stronger, it's not about being initially stronger. It's about being better in the long game. So yeah, that's amazing. Unfortunately, this Pokemon has 0 physical Dark Stab in this game, and it has base 115 attack, right? And then it has base 65 special attack. But don't fear, regular Qwilfish has access to Throat Chop, and it is not a dark type. So I'm assuming with move tutors and stuff, this Pokemon will hopefully get access to that as well, and to be able to use its base 115 attack. But other things that we see here, obviously I already mentioned Aqua Tail and Poison Jab. I like Aqua Tail a lot. If it gets Liquidation or Waterfall later, that'd be great too. I would rather have, you know, stronger moves that don't miss, or a slightly weaker move that can't miss but can flinch. So I don't like Aqua Tail as much, but I'm glad that it has it in the game. And I'm hoping, like I said, going forward, Liquidation. And then Self-Destruct is here. After that, that's basically it. The rest is all like support stuff or like special stuff that don't really matter too much for this Pokemon because you're not a special attacker, period. So, that's a big thing. If we look at Qwilfish's move pool, other things that we see it getting, like it gets spikes here. So we're going to assume that hopefully it also gets access to toxic spikes. I think the big stuff for this Pokemon, especially as a Swiss Swim user, would be the ability to get Swords Dance. Because if it can Swords Dance under rain, it can run Swords Dance. Let's see, Swords Dance, assuming it gets Throat Chop as well. I think this will be a standard set, assuming it gets these moves. You'd have your Aqua Tail or Liquidation or whatever. I'm going to put Liquidation here just because that's the one I want the most, right? Waterfall would be great too. And then, of course, you have your Barrage. I'm just going to put regular Barrage here. Or Poison Jab, depending. It kind of depends, right? So I think that this can be a really good set under Swift Swim. Its ability to be faster than the majority of Swift Swimmers is really cool, too. It shares a speed tier with Kingdra as well. So, like, I think that's just insane, right? It's faster than Kabutops. It's faster than Ludicolo. It being anti-rain as well, just by having Swift Swim is really cool. And its ability to threaten all those Pokemon too. And obviously, Explosion or Self-Destruct are things this Pokemon can run too. And we're just looking at Qwilfish. And I'm actually going to be talking about Qwilfish as well because a Violet Qwilfish is insane. And we'll be talking about the draft in just a minute. But, yeah, so the ability to resist, the ability to be immune to Psychic, to resist Ghost, to resist Dark, just awesome. Awesome, absolutely awesome for the Pokemon. One weakness with pretty good HP, pretty good defense, and I only talked about Swift Swim, but that's not to say it doesn't have access to Intimidate too. This can be a very easy anti-lead type of thing that's better than Qwilfish. Like one Qwilfish set that people used to run, and I think this is something that this thing can do too, would be Taunt, Spikes, Toxic Spikes, Explosion. Right? That's something that Qwilfish used to run as an anti-lead. You could also put Destiny Bond here too. This Mon also gets access to Icy Wind, so you can be a pseudo Frostlass, and Icy Wind is pretty decent because you slower their speed. Yeah, you lower their speed. Well, you do slow them down, and you make them slower, and it means it can do things like that. But also we could see support options as well, right? Like offensive Spiker, Life Orb Spiker, defensive Spiker that can deal with, let's say the best Pokemon in the tier is a physical Ghost type. So let's look at Ghost. All right. So the best Pokemon in the tier, let's say these are all really strong. Okay, let's give Banette the benefit of the doubt. It's never going to be the best Ghost type in a tier, but let's say Banette is the best Ghost type in a tier, right? Banette cannot really hit this Pokemon for good damage. Resist knockoff, resist shadow claw, resist gunk shot. Like there's nothing you can do. So being able to be physically defensive, being able to come in on bayonet, right? Again, this is just an example. Being able to come in on bayonet. If I could just fix my EVs, that'd be great. And we're on PokemonShowdown.com, by the way. And just being able to get up spike, I think is really, really big, right? This is naturally bulkier than Qwilfish. However, again, other options as well. I'm about to get into Qwilfish. I was trying to pivot into that, but I didn't yet. But other options as well will be potentially this mon might get pain split, so recovery is amazing, and that's good for both Qwilfish and Overqwil. And then the other thing would be just taunt, toxic spikes, and those are like the big things that kind of come to mind. Acupressure actually sounds scary on a bulkier version of Qwilfish as well. So not even Mimi, just actually scary because you can't poison it, right? And it's only weak to ground. So that sounds really nasty on this type of Pokemon. And even I could see people using like Choice Band as well, some combinations. So those are pretty big things. But the other mon that looks really cool, because there is an evolution of Hisuian Qwilfish, we can use Hisuian Qwilfish with a Violite. And that in itself is such a big thing because people already use bulky Qwilfish as it is, right? People already use, in fact, you know what, I'll show you, just look at Qwilfish right here. We have PU spikes, range sweeper, defensive spikes. So people already use this with Rocky Helmet, spikes, taunt, liquidation, pain split. It comes in on physical attackers. It comes in on fighting types. Now, this mon probably isn't going to be coming in too much on fighting types just because it's neutral. But it will still, as well, with just its ability to take them on because of the Eviolite is crazy, or Eviolite, however you want to say it. So let's just run a little calc. We'll put it +1 because of the Eviolite. What's a really strong fighting type that I can think of? Let's think of Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr is a really strong fighting type. That is a close combat. That is a close combat. That is guts boosted close combat. Doing, oh, that's the wrong typing as well. Hold up. Let's actually show you real typing. So that's guts boosted close combat from a base 140 attack mon doing 54 to 64. However, I did not even put in Intimidate yet. So Guts boosted close combat does 36 to 43, and you got to remember that Conk actually has more HP than Qwilfish anyway, naturally, so Pain Split will be there too, and obviously you can threaten it with your Poison move, which is going to be doubled in power. Your Bar Barrage is going to be doubled in power because it's already burnt. So it's just, it's wild. It's wild to me. Let's just put Poison Jab here. Put Poison Jab, it'd be 60, so let's put it at 120. Just a note. So it does 36 to 43, but obviously Conkeldurr would be -1 in this scenario because of close combat and you're 2 at killing. So it's just something to keep in mind, right? This already opens up a lot for Qwilfish on the defensive aspect. Also, not even just on the defensive aspect, but this also has access to Swift Swim, but it can be a bulky Swift Swim Pokemon. It can be a semi-bulky Swift Swim Pokemon, like even without much investment. So it has base 95. I think lower tiers and even in higher tiers, this mon can be scary because it has decent attack, right? 317, amazing attack. And then obviously it has a good speed tier because it shares the same exact speed tier, so it's already Qwilfish. And then on top of that, you run a Violite on this Pokemon, right? It's 207 defense, becomes over 300. It's 146 special defense, becomes in the 200s as well. So it's like, and I'll just tell you the exact number, but 146 would become 219 times 1.5, which is the Violite, and 207 times 1.5 would be 310. It'd be 310.5, but Pokemon rounds down, so unless it's mind blown. So it would be 310. So that is already giving it just naturally, right? So that's, remember the number, 219 and 310. It already has, it's just barely weaker than regular Qwilfish on the, or Overqwil on the defensive side. And then it has more special defense than it, right? While still retaining the same speed. Now it is quite a few, it's a little bit, it's quite a bit weaker, right? But this just means that Hisuian Qwilfish not only can be a very scary lower tier or higher tier, honestly, like I said, Swift Swim user, but it's bulkier. It doesn't even have, it can run Swords Dance with Intimidate as well. I think that's something to keep in mind as well. Like, you don't only have to use defensive spike sets, defensive pain split sets with this Pokemon, even if the best Pokemon is like this Magius, you could obviously use special defensive with a Violite and take it on. But it opens up the door for both Swift Swim and Intimidate offensive sets too. And I like to compare, when I think about Pokemon that run a Violite or heavy duty boots that do the exact same thing as their evolutions, I think of Sneasel, right? Because Sneasel and Weavile can do the exact same thing. Weavile runs Choice Band, Sneasel runs Choice Band. Weavile can run Swords Dance, with Life Orb or Heavy Duty Boots. Sneasel can run Swords Dance with Heavy Duty Boots or Violite, right? So they do the exact same thing. Sneasel is just weaker and slower than Weavile, but it's still really good and usually takes its place in lower tiers because Weavile is usually higher tier. So Qwilfish being able to do the exact same thing on top of being more defensive, right? If you're running physically defensive with a Violite or special defensive with a Violite, then Intimidate Overqwil. Of course, the trade-off is that Overqwil can run Black Sludge / Leftovers for recovery, whereas Qwilfish has to only run a Violite and it has to worry about being knocked off because knockoff is going to happen. But the trade, this mon can be so good, right? You guys are seeing what I'm talking about. I hope you're seeing what I'm talking about. Let me know down below if you're seeing what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm super excited for this mon. I'm super excited for lower tier rain teams. I think it's really cool that, you know, a dark and poison type has access to Swift Swim. I think it's really cool that Qwilfish is finally getting some love. I really wish that regular Qwilfish also got evolved too, because water and poison is also really nice defensive typing and just the ability to come in on bulky waters always. So if I could run a Violet on this, that'd be great. But just a Violet on this one, really, really cool. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm just glad we finally got an evolution, because I know that was something that they wanted to do with Qwilfish for a while and they kind of scrapped it. But yeah, so let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I definitely think this thing has potential in higher tiers. And if it's in lower tiers too, it doesn't matter. I think Qwilfish has a lot of potential as well. Spiker, I didn't even talk about Poison Point too much. This Barb Barrage, it's a physical move, but it doesn't say if it makes contact, right? It doesn't say if it makes contact. Contact. Category, 100%. Like as in like, you're not smashing them with your spikes, right? You're shooting them at them. So I'm assuming it's like Pin Missile type of thing. When I talk about that, you know how Pin Missile, the anime, it comes out of the Pokemon and fires at that. So I was trying to think if there was correlation between Poison Point and that, because then obviously that'd be crazy too. But just like how, you know, Poison Touch plus Poison Jab, that's essentially what almost a 51% chance to poison if you do probability with a move like that. I could be wrong though. But yeah. Guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you subscribe. I'll be having more videos throughout this week. I'll obviously be covering Sneasler and Avalugg and all these guys. It's a lot of fun just looking at these Pokemon. And I'm hoping that, you know, we get to see them in battle in actual tiers and like National Dex or Gen A OU or BDSP, whatever, sooner than later, that we do not have to wait all the way till Gen 9 to be able to use these Pokemon. So we'll see what Pokemon Home does for us when it eventually connects to all this stuff. But like I said, leave a like, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. If you guys want to pick up Pokemon Legends Arceus, I do have a Best Buy affiliate link. If you live in the US, you guys can support me. That link is down below if you'd like to. No pressure. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.